battle against COVID, it's all hands on the deck. The Defence Minister has held multiple meetings in the last few days with the Chief of Defence Staff and Tri-Service Chiefs. Prime Minister Modi was also briefed individually on the efforts of the forces. And Lieutenant General Dr. Madhuri Kanitkar is leading the medical team under Chief of Defence Staff for COVID-19 Management Programme. She joins us on this special broadcast. Welcome, Lieutenant General Kanitkar. It is an honour to have you on Republic TV.
Thank you, Sanika. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And my first question to you would be, what are the immediate steps that are being taken by the AFMS for mitigation of the crisis across India?
I think the immediate step is that it's no more just AFM, Armed Forces Medical Services, but it's the Armed Forces. Of course, the primary warriors remain the Armed Forces Medical Services, and the DGAFMS is leading this whole thing, and he has set up a committee, which is the COVID crisis cell, which I am heading, and we have taken this as an operational role where in a war, just that the way we would go into war and our soldiers would go in front and we would be supported they would be supported by us doctors. Today we are on the front line and all our soldiers are supporting us. So we are here now to do whatever we can. This is a war. No one really gets it all. There would be a lot of losses, lot of damages, but let's look at it positively and with the strength that we are here and we are going to do our best.
Yes, and like you very rightly said that this is a war situation in the country. So, if you could also elaborate on how how the Indian Army as well as the Navy as well as the Air Force are going all out in ensuring that there is adequate supplies and ensuring that that our frontline workers like doctors don't have to undergo more trouble in this fight against COVID.
Yeah, because I would first like to specify that the doctors are really stretched to, I would say, their full limits. But I think it's our training and resilience which we look at every war as or every challenge as an opportunity to rise up above it. And the Armed Forces is supporting this thing in a holistic manner. So the Navy is transporting oxygen and taking these cases right up to the little islands, whether it's the Lakshadweep, whether it's the Andaman Nicobar, because this is across the country. So where the air support is not there, the sea is there. So we are using all the routes. The Air Force, as we are seeing, as you're showing all those images, wherein oxygen and all these supplies which are coming in from the various countries, there's a huge logistic operation which is being undertaken by the Air Force, and they're standing in readiness to deliver it to all the places, even for that matter, oxygen within the country, besides getting all those containers and cryo vans and all from abroad. They're also transporting them across the country, and the Army is doing its bit, providing with the what they call the flats or the transports on which our tanks and all are transported. So those are being used on trains to transport oxygen. Besides this, they're also providing our soldiers. They are trained in, giving first aid. We call them the battlefield nursing assistants. So they are coming in, pitching in with the medical healthcare workers as well. And this, I think, is a lesson to learn that, the time has come for all of us to say not just what is happening, who's doing. I think the time has come to say what I can do. And I'm sure each one has so much capability. Just the way we look after the sick in our own homes, can we look after some more people in our community? Can we reach out? There's so much each can do. I think that time has now come.
Yes, that's very true. And Lieutenant General Kanitkar, my next question would be that you've said that the Armed Forces Medical Services officers that are retiring this year would get an extension. So how is the Army planning to ramp up those serving the nation in this time? How is the Army planning to get more doctors roped in this battle as well?
Yeah. See, an Army doctor doesn't, can't be taken off the shelf and produced, because there's years of rigorous training which makes us a doctor and a soldier. So that is not possible. So what we are looking at is our short service commissioned officers. We're looking at getting them on board back, those who've done less than 14 years or more than 14 years. So the government is looking at ways and means to quickly take them on board, and this would be things would be worked out. We're also looking at boarding them for teleconsultations, because I mean there's so much faith and cheer. I think in this times of difficulty and despair, when the nation looks up to this uniform with such pride, I think our veterans are also looking forward to where they can sit at home, and we may soon be able to see the government would help roll out defense online OPD even for civilians. So there's a lot of these kind of initiatives being taken up, and immediately what the government has done is stop the short service commission people who are going to retire in the next 6 months. So they would not, and they would keep adding, and there would be almost another 200 people who would keep remaining with us who would have otherwise left us, because they need time to be trained, whereas these are trained people. So these are some of the ways.
Yes, Lieutenant General Kanitkar, in these tough times, it is very assuring to see a person in a white coat and an olive uniform, leading from the front in this battle as we are fighting an unprecedented crisis. And also another challenge that the nation is facing is the augmentation of essential supplies like medical oxygen and drugs like remdesivir, because we've seen visuals of people suffering trying to get oxygen cylinders and drugs like remdesivir, and even the basic things like a hospital bed. So with the army stepping in, how do you see this crisis being mitigated at the earliest? What are the steps that are going to be taken so as to ensure that there is enough oxygen, enough hospital beds and enough drugs in stock for the common man?
Yeah, see, the productions of drugs and oxygens is something that the sort of the country and the civil setup is already doing. The armed forces, wherever and whenever is called in, would help in quick transportation. It's also helping in some ways, like the army found, some people found that there were a couple of small plants which were not functioning. So the clinical skilled our engineers and people from the armed forces went and got that sorted out. So I'm sure every local administrative authority, we have a plan in place where the district administration can liaise with our local military authorities and get them on board to contribute. And we are all multi-purpose workers. Like you said, there's a doctor and a soldier, and we take pride in the medical service. We are doctors, soldiers, teachers. So I think in every way, so I think we would help. And I think this is what is important, reassuring the people not to panic, not to worry, because everyone feels they need to just, rush for remdesivir. Let the doctor decide that. But look at what you can do. So I think our first image that we would like to share with the nation is a very positive image, that saying that, look, we are going to be here with you in everything, just the way we always are. But please do not, and let all the systems start falling into place and working. See, we were not prepared for such a huge onslaught, right? So if it's happening, there can't be that everything is always available. There is always a tough time, and we have to wait and hang on there with that strong faith and positivity. Continuously seeing that, people dying, this is very depressing. So I think we need to change that and use all our media, all your thing to say, look, this too shall pass, and we will all come out winners. And therefore we've termed for our own selves, we've called this co-jeet, that we will all co-workers and all use our resources together and come out winners. We never go into war with a thought that will we win. We go with that confidence, hum jeetenge. So I want every Indian citizen to feel the same today, in spite of all the difficulties.
Yes, and Lieutenant General Kanetkar, that was going to be my next question because I was reading up on this, on the Operation Ko-Jeet that the Indian Army has launched. So if you could tell us how is the Army planning to implement this operation and what are the aspects you're going to cover up in this Operation Ko-Jeet?
So the part of this, I mean, this committee was formed and then we said we should, what should we, since it was a tri-services which started planning it under our DGFMS. So we first called it Army, Navy, Air Force, Medical co-working together, and we would win this. So we nicknamed it Ko-Jeet. But now it's been beefed up with the complete armed forces, the complete leadership down. Everyone has joined this force. So it's become a huge force multiplier, and we're seeing rapid action and changes taken up. So what are the things which are concrete we are really like to? First and foremost, we are ramping up all our military hospitals. We've got Army, Navy, Air Force in all parts. We are ramping them up as fast as we can and would depend on, of course, the oxygen supply remains with, we would help in its transportation, but the final supply would be controlled and we will follow the same norms and get it to our hospitals as well. But there we have already started, ever since the surge came in, we've opened all our hospitals to all our veterans and their dependents as first phase because they would otherwise go to empaneled civil hospitals. So we reduce the load from there and take on. And as of now, we've got 9,000 patients of all over the country in our service hospitals, which is a huge number we are taking in. Besides that, in whichever city beds are available, the local administration who's approaching and they're helping the people. So that's another thing. We're helping in the testing, we're helping in supplies. We are also helping in hospitals which are being constructed by the DRDO, and the first one of its kind of 500 beds during the first surge that we saw. It was in span of 3 weeks. We showed the world what a capability we have of setting up and commissioning on an absolute level ground, 1,000-bedded hospital. And it had been dismantled, but within a week, it has been reassembled. And for the last 10 days, we've had more than that, almost 2 weeks, we've had slowly ramped up, and there are 500 patients, of which 120 are ICU, and the others are all oxygen beds, and 100% all civilians. So this is something that we've been able to help out with and are ready to there are similar ones coming up in other places. We're looking at it, but there would be limitations. I mean, it can't be that, a hospital is set up and the army is told to run it, because we have a limited supply, and believe you me, my healthcare workers are stretching themselves to their limits. Like all others in the country, all are being respected. But I think a time has come where every common citizen who's well, who's healthy, can look at what are the non-clinical jobs in hospitals, in community centers, setting up places to help each other, because 80% of your cases can be managed effectively at home. I think that is what is important, instead of panicking and saying, the moment that thing comes, they say COVID positive. This is the first time with every positive, people have such a negative because of the media, because of the numbers. But why don't we look at the 80%, not just 50, half glass full. 80% are going to get well with such simple measures and maybe a little bit of oxygen. So let every person in the community think of those 80% and let the other 20 of that also, probably another 10 odd percent would be well with low, and minimum would really require the high pressure and ICUs and things. So let us not get worried about this. Let us see the positive and come together. I think that is what, just the way the armed forces has come together, I think the country, every local community needs to come together and say, what can we do?
Yes. Yes, Lieutenant General Kanitkar, this is going to be a very, very inspiring message, and I'm sure it will inspire the millions of Indians who are watching this interview right now. I have a couple of more questions before I let you go. My next question would be that the Delhi government has sought the help of the army to set up and operationalize some of the COVID-19 health facilities, because we know that Delhi is the worst affected city at this point of time. So. Is there any, what would the army step in, or what are the steps that are going to be taken, if you could answer these questions as well?
Yeah, see, first and foremost, I just mentioned to you, we are already running a 500 bedded facility, and whatever gets the army accepts things which are decided by leadership, by seniors. So they are looking at ramping this up to maybe 1,000 beds. And we are hoping that we shouldn't need any more. And this, I'm already looking at a time where the peak should start coming down. Some of the earlier places, we are seeing a slight improvement, say Mumbai, the ones which were hit earlier. So we are hoping that we reach there. It is important to look at a new day, a sunrise with positivity. So that, I think, is important. And just to take that one point which I had mentioned about communities, I'm sure the entire country, in every community, every city, every district, every village, there would be armed forces people who have retired, who are settled there. There need not be a movement which has to be only directed by the Ministry of Defense. I think every local, this thing can take them up, and we are trained to take on leadership roles, assist in every possible way, and set up centers like that using the ex-servicemen at every local place. I think the country can do a lot.
Yes. Yes. And Lieutenant General Kanitkar, one final question is, today we just had news a few hours back that the government is roping in interns, medical interns, as well as final year medical students, MBBS students. So what would be your message to those who will now literally come to the front in this COVID
Yes.
situation? What would be your message to those soldiers who would be in the hospital battling the pandemic?
Yeah, I think as far as the students, I would say that I wish I was a student again and feel when you go in for medicine and you take that Hippocrates oath, and you always want to kind of be there and help people, look after people and learn. I think this is the opportunity of a lifetime for all these young students and graduates. I think they should not hesitate. I think their parents and relatives should not hesitate. If they've been vaccinated, let me give them the thing that, of the vaccination has been a beautiful armor. I use military terms because it's armor protection, So it's really been amazing, the results. The nation vaccinated the soldiers. We completed 99% of our forces is completely immunized. And we are seeing such mild symptoms. So I think those, and in most places, our students would be immunized. So I think they should just come forward, because this is an opportunity of a lifetime to look after, to care for people, and an opportunity of a lifetime to fast track your learning. Because there would always be senior doctors, no one would leave them alone. They would always work under supervision, but they can feel they're the real doctors, what they were born to do, and with such difficulty they got an admission in a medical college. I think the time has come to come up to that call of the country.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, Lieutenant General Kanitkar, for joining us on Republic TV. It's been very inspiring talking to you, and I'm sure millions of Indians will also get inspired. I cannot stress this enough after watching this interview, to participate and contribute in this COVID battle. Thank you very much for talking to Republic TV.
Yes. Thank you, Sanika. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.